to demand that the State Department insist that
Andrew,
the
stay
woman
where
be
you are.
released immediately.
Andrew,
and we need
Andrew,
the
we'll do one more.
of politicians.
Andrew, we'll
with
do
a
one more
spine
segment. Andrew,
to say that this is
stay
absolutely
tuned. Stay where you are. Andrew, we'll do one more segment, so stay where you are. We'll be back with Andrew Bostom. Don't go away.
Imagine if you had a secret code for making money, a code buried deep within biblical texts.
A code that certain investment titans have quietly exploited to amass billions.
And what if this code could be used by you today to unlock vast amounts of wealth safely and ethically?
Investment expert and former pastor Sean Hyman says there is such a code. He calls it the Biblical Money Code. Sean credits this code for helping him turn his father's $40,000 retirement account into $396,000.
And today, you have the chance to tap into this life-changing biblical money code by visiting moneycode50.com.
That's moneycode, the number 50.com.
At moneycode50.com, you will find a free video that describes how you could use this biblical code in your own life to get out of debt and invest for profits.
That's moneycode50.com.
3 a.m. and you're up again for the third time. It's not just affecting your sleep, it's interrupting your daily life. Frequent trips to the bathroom due to an aging prostate is a common concern, but you can now do something about it with Prostate Revive. Doctor-formulated Prostate Revive is an all-natural dietary supplement packed with 15 powerful ingredients, focused on improving prostate health by targeting the two main sources of prostate concerns, rogue testosterone and inflammation. And now, in this limited time offer, you can try Prostate Revive absolutely free. That's a free bottle, a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, risk-free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive our free report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Call now for details on getting your free bottle, plus our doctor's report. Call 1-800-659-REVIVE. That's 1-800-659-REVIVE. Don't be a victim of an aging prostate. Start getting the sleep you need and get your life back with Prostate Revive. Claim your risk-free bottle now at 1-800-659-REVIVE.
Federal and state authorities urge every American family to have an emergency radio. It can save you and your loved ones from disaster. Now, Newsmax has an incredible offer for you. Get our Weather Band emergency radio free. This emergency radio picks up AM, FM, and the NOAA Weather Band. It even works without batteries, essential in an emergency. Call the number below right now and you'll get this emergency radio, plus 2 great publications, including the award-winning Newsmax magazine. Each month, Newsmax brings you the important stories you won't see anywhere else. Plus, you'll get incisive commentary from David Limbaugh, George Will, Michael Reagan, Ben Stein, Dr. Laura, and more. Ben Stein says Newsmax reveals the unafraid, uncomplicated, bare-knuckles truth about today's dangerous world. Mike Reagan says, I guarantee that you'll love Newsmax magazine. This emergency radio offer with Newsmax magazine won't last long. Order online or call the number on your screen right now.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City, here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, we're back with Andrew Bostom here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Andrew, we got cut off by the break before. I just want to ask you, how commonplace are these kinds of things, like what's going on in Sudan to this poor woman?
Well, I just wanted to read you a comment from the Sudan Minister of Information, which is actually a very forthright and honest comment, which reflects the pervasiveness of these attitudes. This was after the conviction was announced on Sunday. And then that, as I mentioned, there was a several days reprieve she was given to recant, and basically convert to Islam. But in that interim, the Sudan Minister of Information was interviewed, and here was his comment. He was very defiant, but he was frank. He said, it's not only Sudan, in Saudi Arabia, in all the Muslim countries, it is not allowed at all for a Muslim to change his religion, unquote. Now, however, what's so brazen about this is that usually these situations, first of all, there's a great disincentive to convert to any other religion because of the Sharia-mandated penalty of death for apostasy. But if an apostate is killed, it's usually an extrajudicial killing. It's really not common for the state to literally execute one of its own citizens in public on charges like this. That's what makes this particularly egregious. In other words, it's bad enough that these extrajudicial killings take place or that people are incarcerated. Yeah. Often what will happen is that the apostate will be incarcerated. To pardon my French, they'll have the crap beat out of them until they recant. Because it's not a good situation to have people leaving Islam if you want the Sharia to be kept in place.
Again, a silent world, a silent media, and a silent White House and State Department here in the United States. It's just mind-boggling. All right, let's move on to Boko Haram and this, this hashtag diplomacy, as it's being called, or hashtag fighting of terrorism. Here's what got me. And I've talked about this over and over all week. Last Saturday, Michelle Obama took the place of Barack Obama and gave the weekly address. And she made it sound, and we played the sound bites, that Boko Haram, if you just came in from Mars, or if you didn't know Boko Haram, you would think that Boko Haram came on the scene when they kidnapped these girls. And as horrific as that is, and as much as my heart goes out to all of them, and I hope they get these girls back, and I hope they blow away all those terrorists who did it, the point is, she made it sound for 6-7 minutes that Boko Haram is all about denying girls an education. Now, she called them terrorists, but she called them terrorists for denying girls an education. She failed to mention that in February, they slit the throats and shot in the back about 60 boys in a boarding school there, and then set the place on fire. She failed to mention the churches that the Boko Haram people have overrun and set on fire, and the Christians they've killed. She failed to mention the thousands of villagers that are killed routinely by Boko Haram. No, all they are is about denying young girls an education. As sad as that situation is with the girls, Andrew, the misinformation, the disinformation by omission made me sick.
It's preposterous. First of all, what's being underreported about this particularly horrific kidnapping and enslavement, let's be honest about it, is that 90% of those captured were Christians. So once again, they really are targeting Christians. In fact, some of those that have gotten away, it's alleged that most of those who've gotten away were sort of passively let go because they were Muslims. But beyond that, Steve, the whole context of this has been wildly distorted. This goes back to jihad depredations that literally date from the beginning of the 19th century and have to do with the violent Islamization by a jihadist movement back then. And we have, unfortunately, in Sudan's history, in the intervening 2 centuries, there's been these recurrent movements to forcibly impose the Sharia, originally on animist populations, then with the colonial period, some of the Christianization of the area on Christian populations. It has gone on and on and on. And the aim of Boko Haram, who are in the tradition of these jihadist movements, very plain, straightforward, is to make sure that there's the strict application of the Sharia in Nigeria, period. That is their mission.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm not sure. Look, I'm glad the world has coalesced around these girls, and I'm glad the world has awakened to Boko Haram, even though Hillary Clinton for 2 years refused to designate them as a terrorist group, even at the behest of congressmen here in the U.S., which is something she's going to have to explain. But awakening to Boko Haram and celebrating that awakening by leaving out who they are is almost as bad as ignoring who they are, in my opinion.
Well, also, Steve, there's been an ugly phenomenon below the surface in Nigeria, particularly in the north, which is Muslim dominated, which is that the so-called moderate Muslims in Nigeria really have a lot of the same aims as their more violent brethren. And therefore, there's been a passivity in the way they deal with this situation. A great 20th century historian of the whole situation in Nigeria, who died in 1994, wrote in 1993 that he felt that reliance on moderate Muslims in Nigeria was absolutely pointless They had essentially rejected, any form of secular experimentation.
Well, Andrew, that might explain a lot about why Nigeria hasn't gone after that terrorist group. Hey, Andrew, thank you. Fascinating 2 segments. Keep us on top of what's going on. We'll speak to you again, sir.
Take care, Steve.
All right, Andrew Bostom, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming back with Ken Edelman, who was there when Reagan and Gorbachev spoke on a very critical weekend. We'll talk all about it. Don't go away.